So now that we have our solenoid assembled with our barrel jack connector, we need to be able to supply power to it as well as switch it on and off with our foot pedal. As we saw earlier, some of the inexpensive pickup tools that have an active vacuum pump, the pin actually uses a small circular hole that you put your finger on to open and close the vacuum. Now, since we don't want to have this type of finger control directly on our pin, we need to be able to open and close the vacuum, and the solenoid is going to do that. But we need a foot pedal wired up to provide power to open and close that valve. So what we're going to do is then have the AC adapter. I've got a 12 volt 2 amp wall wart here. I found this one specifically because it has the 2.1 millimeter barrel jack that mates with the connector that we put on the solenoid, but it also has an 8-foot power cord to it. And what I've done is I've taken the power cord and gone through and measured out 3 foot from the wall wart out, and I've cut the cable there. And that gives us 3 foot for the power cord and 5 foot for the connection. This is good enough to go directly from the wall to the pedal, and then provide enough cord to go up from the desk and a little bit of slack to be able to plug into the solenoid that we'll have next to our vacuum pump. Now, the foot pedal is an interesting choice. I've gone through and selected a bunch of different ones to try out. This particular one was very inexpensive. It was $6. It had a 3-foot wire attached to it. What I found was the wire was of very poor quality. It was too short to really to be useful. The foot pedal itself is too light. I can kick it around quite easily under the desk. The pressure required to put this open and close the switch on it is pretty hard. It's difficult to use and just very uncomfortable. After determining the wire was too short and of poor quality, I decided to replace the wire with this white one. Unfortunately, it took me nearly 20 minutes to disassemble this foot pedal to replace the cord. So this really wasn't an ideal thing for me, because I wanted to make sure it was very easy to assemble the entire process. So what I did is I went online and found this one. This one's from linemaster.com. I was able to purchase it through Amazon. It's much more expensive. It's around $20, but it's solid metal, very heavy. It's very sensitive on the pressure from the foot. Easy to use and very comfortable. It doesn't slide around. The bottom of the design actually has some gripping tape on it. It's really a very well made device. The best thing about it is it's extremely easy to open up and attach your own wires to, and so that was very important to me. So what we're going to do is take these 2 screws off the base plate and set them to the side. Once I remove the base plate, you can see that we have very well labeled connections. We have a normally open, a normally closed, and a common connection. And we're going to connect those with our power supply and our barrel jack connector directly to some of these connections. What I've done is stripped back the wire approximately 2 inches, and the positive and negative wires were very well labeled with red and black wire. Some of the other power supplies I tested had odd colors. I had to use a multimeter to find out. This one's so easy, I mean, just follow the color code. And what we're going to do is insert these through the opening in the back. Once we have that in there, we can select one of the red wires. It's really not important which one it is. And we're going to peel back our cover here and insert the wire under the screw and screw that down. And this is going on to the normally open connection. The second red wire we're going to put over here under the common screw. Insert the wire under and screw it down. Now our two black wires, which are the ground, we want to tie those together. And we have a green screw that's on the base. We're going to take those two black wires that are twisted together and put those under the green screw. An alternative to this is you could always solder them together and put heat shrink around it, but the attempt here was to make it as easy as possible, again, to screw everything together. Yeah, this one's giving me trouble. There we go. Yep. Might take a couple tries here, but there we go. And then you're all set. So what we're going to do is put the base plate back on and put our two screws back on. And our foot pedal with power supply is ready to test with our solenoid.